So, good evening and welcome to this business briefing tonight. My name is Lena Westberg, and I got introduced to this business and to the company a bit more than 20 years ago and decided that this would be really interesting. My background is not at all within business. I used to work with small children in kindergarten, and then I was a stay-home mom when we moved abroad 25 years ago. And you will not hear from me tonight because I have the privilege of introducing my husband, Carl Westberg, who will actually host or have the presentation tonight and will guide you through this presentation, this business briefing. And he has a different background from mine. He is an economist and had a lot of titles that I think he will have to give you himself. But he graduated or went to business school in Stockholm, Business School of Economics, many years ago, and then went in and did a great career, mostly in telecom. And when I actually got introduced to this business, he was vice president at Nortel and had, as I said, very good position. So not really interested when I came home with this opportunity, but that changed. So, Carl Westberg, welcome.
Thank you, dear wife. Always a pleasure to share presentations, even though I will be the one now running the presentation tonight. First of all, welcome. And for those of you who have not heard of this business before, what I'm going to do is to give you an overview. I will not go into any really deep details. So in order for you to know more in depth, you contact the person who has invited you to this presentation, and that person can tell you more. So the presentation will be based on 5 main points. The first one is the trends. And the trends are important because we need to know if we are well positioned. And perhaps I should add already here that looking at these 5 platforms, if you like, it's important for any job you would even dream of applying for, because these 5 things are essential if you are considering a new job of any kind. So that's why we have them here. So again, first of all, the trends, to make sure that the trends are your friends. So that means that you are part of the trends. In a very good case, you're also in the front of the trends, kind of not only leading, but also, really, leading and steering where we are heading. The second one is about the company behind us in this business. It's important because you become like an ambassador for your partner. So you need to be fully trustworthy, the company and the other way around. Then when it comes to products, you have to be sure that the products offered are, the best more or less you can get on the market. Quality, to know that you can trust results that are mentioned when you talk about the products. Income potential. Well, I think that is perhaps the most important for most people in the beginning, at least, and see how much can I earn in this business, and how do I earn money in this business? Do I earn money? And the last thing is about timing. And timing in our business, it is like locations for real estate agents. That is the thing, because you can have the best opportunity to offer somebody, but if the timing is not right, they will never take it. And that's why timing is so important. But it's also the timing for the company as such, not only for you as individuals, but for the company as such. And this is what we're going to look closer at right now. So looking at the trends, you see on this slide a number of trends, and I'm sure you've heard of all of them. And you know that this is what people are talking about today and what you can read about in papers, magazines, and so on. I will not go into any details with this, but I'd like to add actually a couple of other big trends today. And I want to add them because once again, with this particular company and opportunity I'm presenting tonight, we are so perfectly positioned for the future within all these trends. One is learning and earning, which means that as an employer, you have to be able to offer somebody who wants to work also the chance to study, to learn while they are earning. There are some examples from the UK, people graduating from university 2017, that on average they have debts of £50,000, and that is really to start your business life uphill. You have to think of how you're going to pay back all those loans that you have taken. So, and a modern employer, they have to be able to offer you work and studies at the same time. And this is what we do in our business here. Another big trend is to have multiple revenue streams. You know, when I grew up, it was important to get a good job with a good employer. And if you did a good job, you basically stayed with that employer the rest of your life. Well, things have changed, time has changed, and today people want multiple revenue streams. They don't want to be dependent on one particular market or one particular job. So a lot of people, especially young, are looking now for alternative businesses to do beside what they are doing today, so they can build up these multiple streams of revenues. The third one that I just wanted to mention is pre-retirement versus retirement. Again, when you retire, a lot of people, they kind of postpone their lives, they postpone their living until they're retired because then they will have time. Well, today that is not really the case. A lot of people want to take time off during their business life, excuse me, to take perhaps a year off, 2 years off, do something completely different. Or when they reach the age of retirement, they are not at all ready to retire because they're all vital, they want to work, they want to make things happen. So these new three trends here, they're again, with the offer that we have here, perfectly fit for the business. This is exactly what we can offer people today. What we do, or what we are connectors. Just if you imagine, for example, Airbnb, they are not owners of buildings, but they are connectors between people who want to find somewhere to live and people who have houses or apartments to rent out. And we are also connectors between customers who want to buy products from a company that actually make these products fantastically well. So our network is built up by partners who also see a future in what we are doing, salespeople who love to earn commission on basic sales, and customers who are just basically interested in using the products. So who is the company that we are talking about? Who is the company behind our business? It's called Nysken Enterprises and been around since 1984. You see the turnover of the business 2009 and 2017. And this is just to show you that this is a company that's really going in the right direction. And as you well know, many, many companies today are going down. Well, this company is very, very solid. And when I started to look into this, when Lena decided that she wanted to work with this business, I looked into this company as an economist. And I was just more and more impressed the more I read about it. And I mean, just when you can look closer to the company, look at their mission statement and vision statement and what they believe, you know, about in the future. And a thing that I really also think is good is that all the numbers that, you know, can be mentioned by me or in other circumstances here can easily be checked as the company is publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So all financial information is transparent. But it's a very solid company, which I find very important to have behind your back in this business. Because what we are doing, we are actually creating our own companies, but we have then Nu Skin Enterprises behind us. And another initiative that they have that is actually part of our business is something called Nourish the Children. And it is a way to deal with malnourished and starving children around the world. For Europe, the market where we're working on has been and is still Malawi, one of the poorest countries in the world. What we do here as distributors, or just also as partners, you order these sacks of food, and the food is vitaminized and mineralized based on the latest science, what malnourished children need in order to grow, in order to develop their brain, their body, so they can have a decent life. And this initiative started 2002. And as you see on this slide, more than 550 million meals have been donated a year ago, but we are already now over 600 million meals. So this is a very important part of our business and of our heart in the business. I usually say that Nu Skin is not a marketing company, it's a science company, it's a research company, because science is essential to innovate and innovate all the time, to come up with the best in each category where we have chosen to participate, to really have top of the edge products. We have more than 75 full-time scientists, and considering the areas they work in, that is far more than any other company in the world. So it's, again, really, really driven by science. And you can study more about these different things like the gene expression science, which is called H-lock, which we were the first ones on to really work professionally. And this is something unique and something you should definitely spend some time looking into. That is a competitive edge, one of many for us. And if you look into the products, and I will not go through, a lot of products. I think in Europe we have about 200 products available, and they are basically covering everything you need in the bathroom. They're health products, some from the inside and most of them from the outside. Health and beauty, but everything you put on your skin is a matter of health, whether it's good or bad. So that's why it's also very important for us. You see social selling here, and that's a few products taken out because these are easiest to sell on social networks. The reason is that the prices are not very elevated, but more importantly, the effect of using it is very quick. You can see results almost instantly, which makes it, of course, very easy then to show a picture before and after in the social media. And then you have the health products, which are inside out, so supplements of different kinds, juice, extremely good and very well researched products. And then they have the business devices, and these are not consumer goods as all the others. So these are machines that help us to improve the results, both inside and outside. And talk to the one who has invited you to this presentation to find out more about these different machines, because they are all one of a kind. The latest addition to these machines is called LumiSpa, and try it, use it, make sure that you can test it. I think that's the only thing I need to say. It's for men, women, easy to handle. If you know how to handle an electric toothbrush, then you understand how to handle this LumiSpa, because it's basically based on 4 30-second periods, just as the toothbrush that we use on a daily basis.
And we might add, if I may, that it's a cleanser and also make treatments.
Give nutrition to the skin.
You don't wonder what it does.
Yeah.
And it's unique.
No, but I think, that this exciting when you see a machine in front of you, you wonder what can this machine do? And try it. And I mean, you will be amazed by the results. When we started the business, there were not so many sort of systems in place, and what has developed over the years is actually the teamwork, and you work with people who are not part of your own organization, because you know that when we help each other, everybody will have or more likely to have success. So we have created a system called OTG, One Team Global. And through One Team Global, we have materials, we have events, we have trainings, we have presentations, just as the one you're listening to right now. And this is just to make it easier for you not to make the same mistakes as we have done earlier during our careers. 20 years ago, and we mentioned the name Nu Skin, people said, "What? What's that? Never heard of." And that was how it was the first few years when we worked with Nu Skin. Today, it is completely different. Partly because of these machines that I mentioned, but also because of many of the products that are actually really doing what they're supposed to do, and they do it in an extremely good way. So if you look into magazines like Vogue or Metropolitan or Cosmopolitan, Elle, and these very famous magazines, you will find articles about Nu Skin products quite often, and we also win awards, all over the world because of our products and these machines, as I mentioned. So today, you can actually just mention these names to people if they haven't heard of it, of Nu Skin, and see if they don't, you ask them if they haven't read Vogue or they haven't read Elle or any of these magazines. The goal for the company is to become the world's leading business opportunity platform, but not in size, but by paying more commission to the sales leaders than any other company would do with their sales leaders. And this is, to me, raised in a very traditional business environment. This is just amazing. I mean, how many bosses have you had who say, "I want to pay you as much as possible"? Usually they want to pay as little as possible to keep you there if you're good. When we look into the industry we are in, we talk about direct sales. And direct sales, if you look at that industry, has a turnover about a little more than $180 billion. So it's a pretty big industry. But if you look at what the social commerce platform represents, that is more like 4.2 or 4.3 trillion dollars. So it's thousands of billions of dollars. And then we are talking big business. And this is also our industry. I mean, we are here as well. So the opportunity with what we are doing is just growing on a daily basis. It's extremely exciting. So when we then look into the compensation and how we are paid, well, there are no requirements to start out with, but if you want to build a business and you want to talk about the products, you use the products. I mean, that's pretty common sense, I would say. So what you do in the beginning, you would buy some products, and which ones you can always discuss with the one who has invited you to the presentation, see which ones you should test, if you like, and anything from individual products to kits. Because the way you start will usually be a way of duplication. People will ask you how you started, and if you start with a toothpaste or if you start with a kit, that might have some implications on your future business as well. We share the products by buying the products, and then we sell them with up to 43% markup. So you have a markup, which is money that you earn just by selling the products retail. And as I said, we are looking for salespeople. So some people just want to stay here being salespeople. And I have been in sales and marketing all my life. So to me, salespeople, if they're good, it's a good profession. Then what it's all about is to creating teams. And when you have built your closest team, then you help the people in your team to build their teams. So you will have a number of different teams around in your organization. And that is how you can actually start leveraging time and income, which basically means over time, there will be possibilities for you to work less and earn more. And this is nothing that we learn at business school, I can promise you, because there was always about the more you work, the more you earn. But you can work smart, and this is what we tend to do in this business. Key milestones, or your career path, if you like, in this business, because there is a career path. You start out as a brand representative by going through a qualification, and this is basically the first time there are some requirements on how you do the business, that you create turnover. When you have gone through that qualification and you are a brand representative, you then become later on a brand partner when you have started to develop brand representatives in your own organization. So when you have brand representatives who have gone through the same qualification as you have done, you're a brand partner. And then it's a matter of how many of these teams of these brand representatives you build up, and you become a brand director by building up these leadership teams. So this is basically your career in the Nu Skin business. If you look at more concrete money, these are averages from EMEA, so Europe, Middle East, Africa for 2016. So what you see here is if you're a brand representative, your average revenue would be $395 based on those numbers. And if you look at the euro is a little less than $1 today. But it's, if you look at more or less the same, you get a feel for where the euro is. The one stands for, okay, and I am now a brand representative and I have one in my team. And then my average revenue is up to 626. And then when I have 2 that I have recruited myself, or 4, then you see that the average revenues, they increase consequently. When you have 4 of these representatives that you have recruited, you usually also have a number of representatives that they have recruited in their turn. And that's why your average revenue is up on 2,000 here. But if you look to the right at the brand director, so you see the average incomes there going from $4,000 a month to $26,000 a month on average. I mean, these are not just a few people. That's quite a lot of people who reach these kind of incomes. But clearly, if you look at all the people working, I would say that an 85% are on the left side here and the rest are on the right. But the interesting thing is that you decide whether you're going to be on the right side or the left side, because it's completely up to you. Everything is served, everything is prepared for you to take it to the heights that you can see on the right-hand side here. But it's completely up to you.
Should we mention that you actually, when you have 4 representatives in your team, also get
it's a travel.
Some travel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to travel, and when you ask people what the goals are, for many of them, it's to go somewhere to make these travels. And actually, Nu Skin is, I would say, they're experts in providing extremely attractive trips for their distributors. So when you reach these 4 brand representatives that you have recruited yourself, then you are eligible to go on the first of these trips, and they can go anywhere. Examples to Italy, up in the Swiss Alps, Croatia to have our own island, to big cities. It can be just anywhere. And even if you had been to these places before, you had never been there with Nu Skin, and that's a different story. I can promise you that.
I think it's also worth saying that it's a working program. Everything is possible, but not without work, right?
Absolutely, and that's turnover. That's why I said this about going to the far right with these kind of revenues. That's a lot of work. I mean, if you have high goals, you need to work hard. If you don't have high goals, you don't have to work as hard. But you do it once. I mean, you build up a foundation in your business, and when that foundation is in place, then things start to happen in your organization, whether you like it or not, because people with higher ambition than you have are either part of your organization, and they don't work for you, they work for themselves. So, timing. Is it the right timing? I assume for those of you who are listening for the first time, the timing is good because you're most likely looking for something else to do, either in parallel to what you're doing today, or something that you take over what you do today. And as we mentioned on the trends, we are so perfectly positioned, which is a big part of timing. It is a good time to work with Nu Skin Enterprises. It is a good time to be part of all these trends that you have. And as all the younger generation now we're looking at who wants this freedom in their work, this is exactly what we can offer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so we have heard those 5 points, and I hope we all agree that this is really good timing for all of the things, and that we are in the forefront, in front of the trends. The company, we have 20 years and a little bit more of experience. Carl looked into it very thoroughly in the beginning. We even went over to the States to see that everything was okay.
That they existed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of before internet was really useful. The products, we have been using them. So we are the marketing material. We know what we are doing with the income, that it is possible. But as I said, it's a working program, of course, but it's a very smart way of working and with time and freedom. And as Kalle said, timing. Well, we are sure after all this experience we have with Nu Skin that the timing is perfect, right? For everything in the market with internet, everything that we have is now in the right place. But is the timing right for you? Well, we can't know that. As Carl said, you are here, you're listening. So hopefully you have received enough information for you to feel that you could take this further. And of course, we only gave you a brief presentation, so you most probably have a lot of questions, which is, you can get many answers. So just contact the person that invited you and find out, what you would like to know, what is it that you would like to know more about, and so on. But I also wanted to invite one more person here tonight, so you hear from someone else that is much younger than us and who are newer in the business, to hear, so you also hear why she decided to work with this and not the career that she was actually pursuing from the beginning. So Jessica, please tell us why you have
Hello.
chosen to work with this.
Hello. Thank you so much for the great presentation, Lena and Kalle. It's always a pleasure to hear you speaking and presenting about the business. So yes, I am Jessica, as you've already heard. I'm originally from Germany, but currently enjoying the freedom that this business is giving me and living in Sweden at this point. So I had actually a very academic career previously to starting this business. So I had what you would call in a traditional sense, very successful career as a veterinarian, researcher, and public health professional. But for many years, I actually struggled a lot with my mindset and the pressure that I put on myself because I am always aiming very high. And that basically led to me being burned out. And that was last year because I realized that success is actually nothing that I can create by adding more titles to my name, and that no title in the world could actually give me what I was really in need of, which was life quality, reaching my potential, developing myself, and believing and dreaming again and creating a life that I really would really love. And there is something, and that is basically when I got introduced to Nu Skin. And there is something really amazing about creating something from scratch for myself in my own time, on my own terms, empowering others along the way. And all of that, incredibly enough, without risks or big investments attached. And that's basically a setup within which you can only win if, as you already mentioned, you're willing to put in the work. And that's why I absolutely love working with Nu Skin, and it's been definitely the best decision I could have ever made for my career, despite it being a big change from the path that I was originally on.
Yeah, but thank you so much for sharing that, Jessica. And we know that there are many exciting things happening. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
You're very
And
welcome.
Just to conclude this tonight by again saying, please connect with the person that invited you. If you decide to join this crazy, fun, um, daring team, but at the same time, people with very sound values, because that's the only thing that we want from you. We can teach you everything because there is, as you saw, a system and we have tools for how to do the work, but we cannot teach you the values. So that is something that we really are keen on, that we know that people have the right values coming in. And I'm sure that you have because you're invited by some very good people. But hopefully you have enough information to say, wow, I am really curious. I want to know more. So what do you say, Kalle?
How I usually finish
Yes,
perhaps my,
exactly.
my presentations is actually, I mean, even if you're now an independent, you build up your own business, we work in team. And if you feel that this is something for you, you definitely want to know more, you are more than welcome. And I can promise you that we are many people around you that will help you or who will help you to become successful in what you're doing. If you, on the other hand, feel like, nah, this is not for me, that's okay. I really respect that. I don't understand it, but I respect it.
Because we're really passionate about what we are doing. So
Absolutely.
hopefully we will hear from you and wishing you an absolutely amazing evening. Thank you and goodbye.